三葉、四葉、結びって知っとるか？
結び？
土地の氏神様をな、古い言葉で結びって呼ぶんやさ。この言葉には深い意味がある。糸をつなげることも結び、人をつなげることも結び、時間が流れることも結び、全部神様の力や。わしらの作る組紐もせやから、神様の技、時間の流れそのものを表しとる。より集まって形を作り、ねじれて絡まって、時には戻って途切れ、またつながり。それが結び、それが時間。飲みない？
ありがとう。次私も。
うん、それも結び。水でも米でも酒でも、人の体に入ったもんが魂と結びつくこともまた結び。
Every few years, maybe only once a decade, a film comes along and directly connects with the zeitgeist and audience. These rare films, rather than using only popular appeal, use their art to hit a feeling which the audience has yet to find expression of. For anime, you have Akira in the late 80s, Ghost in the Shell in the mid 90s, Spirited Away in the early 2000s, and then the subject of this video, Your Name, in the mid 2010s. It is still the most recent generational film of this type, as the next one is yet to come along. A lot of discussion focuses on the film as a mere romance anime, which it is superficially, but completely ignores the deeper themes. The reason Your Name remains relevant is because the feeling it touched on is one we are still grappling with today, namely the loss of meaning in our modern world and a disconnection with our ancestral past. The answer the film provides through its themes is that incorporating tradition back into our lives will save us. The film starts with an adult Taki in a state of ennui, feeling like he is searching for something, but not even knowing what he is after. This is the state many people find themselves in our modern world. The traditional social structures of family, religion, and culture itself have fallen away, leaving us all to wonder what to devote our lives to, and what is the meaning of anything. This lack of direction is most clearly evidenced in the low birth rates, aging populations, and high suicide rates of all economically successful countries, of which Japan is a perfect example. The theme is returned to again more explicitly in the ending, in which we see more of adult Taki's daily life and circumstances. He is unemployed, chasing after each new job interview to no success, as those around him move forward successfully. Taki's school friends have multiple job offers, and Miki wears an engagement ring to catch up with Taki. They humorously attribute his lack of success to his presumably cheap suit, but we see little evidence as to why he should not be successful. We have scenes of him working hard. The sketches we see him do look to be of high quality, and he tries to present well in interviews. His lack of success is likely due to a feeling the interviewers get of a lack of direction, his sense of ennui in life coming across to the people he interviews for. The crude interpretation of this would be that he's an incel that needs to get laid. But if you think of Mitsuha only representing sex, which is to say romance, you've missed the message of the film. The catharsis evident in Taki and Mitsuha's final meeting on the stairs is so much more than meeting a potential romantic partner. You don't start weeping because you meet someone you like, but because you found something that has been missing in your soul. The corny way to put it is that you've met your soulmate, which, while accurate, still couches things into a neatly romantic setting. Mitsuha represents tradition, culture, and the literal past, all of which the modern man is missing and desperately craves without understanding why. She is memory, place, ritual, and the lost past calling to Taki. The juxtaposition between past and present is obvious in the film. The body-swapping events with Mitsuha literally take place in Taki's past, with Mitsuha being older than him. But let's explore this further for the sake of evidence and completeness. In the beginning of the film, we see Taki and Mitsuha trapped against the doors of a modern Tokyo metro, and after the opening, we are in a beautiful rural Japanese village. We learn that Mitsuha's father was a Shinto priest, a relic of the past, but has given that up to be a politician, a representation of the present. The film doesn't present this as a positive change, with a cynical presentation of a political rally, and Tessie's later comment that he smells corruption as his and Mitsuha's fathers meet for drinks. There is discussion from the characters in the town about how all the youths move away to Tokyo, so there's nothing for them to do. We see the beautiful ancient ceremony performed by Mitsuha and her sister, but it is presented as embarrassing and offends the sensibilities of even the youths who are sympathetic to Mitsuha. When the film moves back to Tokyo, we hear only English being spoken in the first crowd scene, presenting Tokyo as a global metropolitan city, but also as disconnected from the real Japan. The camera lingers on the fast food present in the classroom of Taki's school, and when he and his friends go out after school, they go to a European-style cafe, serving European-style food and cakes. Taki himself also works part-time in an Italian restaurant. The visual imagery is also not subtle, with clear transitions between the past and present, such as moving from a shot of a torii gate to the cold steel of hanging traffic lights and traffic signs. Overall, it is very clear that a distinction is being drawn between the Japanese past, which Mitsuha represents, and modern Japan, which Taki represents. Additionally, the fact that the female character is placed in the past setting and the male in the modern is no accident. Just think of how Mitsuha is concretely in the past for most of the film, and is older than Taki. The female image of being the traditional nurturer who protects and imparts culture and tradition is clearly being made use of here, as is the idea of the male, productive, forward-striding, adventurous force being representative of the modern world. The film itself is a magical, realist adventure of folklore and Shintoism come to life. Firstly, in the opening, we are shown the imagery of the red string of fate connecting Mitsuha and Taki, which Mitsuha also ties in her hair and Taki wears on his wrist. We later have the Kawatari Doki, which first mentioned in the classroom in an archaic local dialect, a luminal space between day and night, in which the division between worlds blurs, something that eventually takes place to bridge the divide between Mitsuha and Taki's worlds. Mitsuha's grandmother and guardian directly lectures the audience on folklore and Shintoism. This first happens with Mitsuha when they are making the threads before the festival, in which we are told of how the threads connect the past and present, retaining in them the emotion and wisdom of those who create them. Later, when Taki is in Mitsuha's body, we get the Musubi speech, in which Grandma explains the Shinto concept of sacred spiritual energy connecting all creation. A common theme in her explanations is the idea of doing without knowing why. The reason for different ceremonies and rituals in Mitsuha's town have been lost to time and to a great fire mentioned in the film. But the idea of doing them without needing to have a concrete reason is important and what ultimately saves the day. What the film is saying is that traditional culture has an inherent value and speaks to an intuitive kind of wisdom that is becoming more foreign to the modern man, but which is the foundation of all cultures and religions. The entire timeline of the rituals, making the string, making the kuchi kamizake, then taking it to offer it to the god, are all necessary components in bringing Mitsuha and Taki together and thereby saving the town. The gods are clearly a real force in this world, even if they aren't known or understood. Mitsuha shouts in the middle of a torii gate, the area through which the kami are said to travel, that she wants to be reincarnated as a Tokyo boy. And with her dying in the original timeline, that is almost exactly what happens. Trying too hard to make sense of the mechanics of the body swapping, the past affecting the future and future affecting past, would be missing the point of the film. Again, going along with the journey without having to know why is the point, as Mitsuha's grandmother would tell us. The film does not say tradition is valuable because everybody understands it. It says tradition may be valuable precisely because it preserves meaning that individuals have forgotten. Now, if the message of Your Name was simply past good, modern bad, return to monkey, I don't think it would have connected as much with audiences. Through the vehicle of a romance between man and woman, the message is that a synthesis between past and present, working together, is what the film is proposing is needed in the modern world. After all, this working together of girl and boy, past and present, is what averts the tragedy of the original timeline. Along with the previously mentioned ancient wisdom and rituals, modern technology is used throughout to assist in saving the town. Mitsuha and Taki communicate mainly through phone messages. They both make use of modern transport technology like trains, cars, scooters, etc., to get around and eventually meet. The plan to save the town includes using explosives and the town's communications network. Furthermore, you never get the sense that the film is condemning modern technology in society or Tokyo and its people. You could easily imagine some cliché scene in which Mitsuha's grandmother tells her to stop wasting time with her phone and making various other complaints about the youth and modern living. The closest we get to this is the restaurant scene in which a customer scams and cuts Mickey's skirt. However, there is nothing inherently modern about belligerent fraudsters. Modern Japan, represented by Tokyo, is simply presented as it is. But what it is a place that is missing a connection to its ancestral past. There is a Buddhist element to the story as well, with recurring cycles of disaster in Mitsuha's town, causing the creators the repeated cycles of body swapping, memory of past lives, and Mitsuha's reincarnation. However, the answer is not a Buddhist one of escaping the cycle, but the Shinto one of musubi, connection, ritual, and sacred continuity. It was a clear choice to have both Mitsuha and Taki be without their mothers. Mitsuha's mother died a couple of years after giving birth to her sister. However, given Mitsuha's representation of the feminine, she has a matriarchal guardian, her grandmother, with her family being fully female, her grandmother, her and her sister. Taki's family, on the other hand, is completely male, given that he represents the masculine. It is just him and his father. We don't learn what happened to Taki's mother, but she is not present in his life. Both main characters being without their mothers is a representation of modern society being without its mother culture, traditions, and religion. The restoration of the synthesis between past and present, culture and technology, woman and man, is the message the film is trying to make, and one that connected with audiences, even if they don't know why. Again, thanks to Mitsuha's gran. Japan and other modern countries in which the film was similarly successful has in a sense lost connection with its soul, and thus has given rise to many of the social problems we see in the developed world today. We see in the film that the cycle of body swapping and disasters has been a continuous one in Mitsuha's family. The grandmother speaks about having similar body swapping experiences, and both the lake beside the town and the crater within which the god's temple is located with a mural of past events shows a repeated cycle of disasters. So while the disaster is averted in the film through the synthesis of female and male, past and present, there is still a call to action in the film, as the idea that disasters come again in repeated cycles is ever present. It is clear after unpacking the themes and motifs of Your Name, most of which are very explicitly presented in the film, that it is much more than a wholesome, magical realist romance. Of course, it is this, and I'm not going to pretend that the success of the movie isn't in part due to this, along with amazing art and animation and a great soundtrack. However, there are many films and anime that have all these elements, but don't have the same cultural impact. The feelings of disconnection that we all live with, and that seem to grow stronger with each passing year, that this film directly confronts, is what keeps it relevant. Its answers of musubi and connection with past and present, tradition, ritual, and technology, ultimately symbolized by their coming together of woman and man, is one that sticks with audiences. They might not understand it explicitly, but, like tradition, it imparts an intuitive knowledge we have all forgotten. Cheers.